Live. Live. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm just giving technology a chance to catch up. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe I'm old. Maybe I'm, you know, making excuses. Who knows? But hello. Welcome. Um, so why am I talking? Why am I moving my face in such a way and emitting sound? Um, well, because I can. That's what we do here. You could do it maybe. I don't know. Could you do it? Like, do you have the option to broadcast live from your personal Facebook account? Are you somebody who would be considered like a digital creator in 2025 where you make your own original content? Or are you somebody who engages in these spaces simply by observing and reacting, right? Or observing and then sharing in order to cultivate a specific point of view or a specific voice, right? I call this have a penny, donate a penny, need a penny, donate a penny. A hashtag charity starts at home. And there really truly is enough for everyone if you believe in sharing and reciprocity. And why do I say that? Well, one, I say it as somebody who in my lifetime, um, actually, both literally and figuratively, I've been thrown under a bus or two. Um, and if I'm speaking literally, it's not a question. It's not, uh, nobody wonders who I am in relation to being a bus operator. In relation to being a bus operator here in Ottawa, Canada, in our nation's capital. Um, More and more people are understanding what the culture has been like in that environment over the years. And we have a deeper awareness of what the culture is like, really, in any, um, you know, transit authority, so to speak, or law enforcement agency or service industry. We're surrounded by rules and fools, right? And the rules are in place hopefully to protect us. But ultimately, we're all subjected to how every single human being understands, comprehends, and applies those rules. So, the beauty is that everything that I've ever released, said, done, you know, thought, felt, experienced, um, due to my own self dedication and self preservation and oomph and who I am to my core, it's all there. So I don't feel like I have to carry a deficit into each day. In fact, with the application of a few core values, core principles, guidelines, with being able to, wherever we are, whenever we are, conduct a little bit of research into what we know, then there is absolutely an abundance of tools and resources and people who are willing to channel all of that resilience and strength and passion into taking incremental action and grouping together. And, for me, there are certain things that will just never, ever change. I will every day wake up and I will make the most out of every day with every chance I have, with every inkling within me. Now, can I churn out and turn out consistent results? Can I hold in secrets and emotions like a big fart without having some sort of like bleh release? No. But um, but at the end of the day, I'm turning 50 next year, and even though my words and my lived experience and my current health and status can paint a picture of, weakness and fragility and vulnerability, because those are all very true, it's not a complete picture. Because I am healthier at 49 than I was at 19 or 29 or 39. I am stronger in many ways than I was even when I carried an extra 300 pounds on my body. And, even if I'm described as, having self-doubt, having self-image problems, having a borderline personality disorder, what the fuck? Like, what would you want to do? Like, yesterday, in reflection of my post from back in the day, it was a reminder that within 3 months in 2008, I had major bariatric surgery in the United States. I moved. I moved from a townhouse, which was fabulous, cute, perfect, exactly what I wanted. Loved being in it. And then through an excruciating process, finding a place that I could be just as equally in love with, right? Being flexible for others, doing what, and then, subsequently going against what I hoped for, wanted, and earned my whole life to really just seeing the circus of the world play out. And the truth is, when people are in any relationship with any other person, place, or thing, it opens up a door to conflict, right? And then depending on how we handle those things, depending how long we've handled those things, depending on our perceptions and our worldview and all of the, and then honestly, especially the emotions of it, that really determines kind of the outcome, right? And usually people might be left kind of holding the bag, so to speak. And there's an emotional cost, there's a physical cost, there's a mental, you know, fee that's paid, so to speak. And it usually comes down to my money's my time, my time's my money. If you're not getting paid, you're not getting, and then essentially we dance out and we spell out our how we're divided from each other. And that's not always true, because usually what might be played out is just overwhelm, exhaustion. And so where does that leave us, right? It leaves us kind of, if I think of the word consumers, right, and we are what we eat, or we are what we consume, well, really, we're all just sort of like suggesting that the truth is that we can't get along, or the truth is that there's not enough to go around, and that's just not true. Um, there are places and spaces and people and food and money and access that if we could all just kumbaya, join hands, wipe the proverbial slate, then really we could regroup, reorganize, and probably kick ass, right? Because I think that's kind of what is needed, um, especially at the end of what feels ridiculous, what feels absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is what I call it. And, personally reflecting on the 10 years of my life where I learned long form improv comedy and performed it and took the stage, and I could get on the stage with people of every walk of life. We could talk about, I was in shows called like the Fembassy. Of course, I was, quote unquote triggering to certain like lifestyle leaders, right? But at the end of the day, the skills and drills and principles I learned in comedy was always play to your intelligence. Always don't throw people under the bus when joking. Like, look at me. I don't need to make racial jokes where somebody who is of a different skin tone or background um, feels like I'm throwing them under the bus or I'm making it at their expense. I love being of low status on the stage in comedy, or projecting the high status, but really projecting it as an overconfident person with low status. If I suspect somebody has a little homophobia, well, I turn up my inner gay, right? Am I that gay all the time? No. Do I feel that gay all the time? Absolutely not. Am I interested in making everything in my whole universe about what people believe gay culture to be? Nah. I honestly could give a flying rat's arse. Um, the fun is in those moments, right? The fun is in the story being told and the reciprocal back and forth. And, do I speak up from a social action standpoint about the art and the work that I've created? Yeah, you're absolutely friggin' right, I have. As I will continue to do. Because there are people who made money, there are people who got credit, there are people who were given space and grace and tokenized. And there are people who look like tokens who also benefited from the same thing. So, in my practice, if we're equal, if we're all one, if there's no hierarchy, well, that also means I'm not lesser status than anybody else. So, if you've got a penny, donate a penny. If you have $1, donate $1. If you have $1,000, give $1,000. If you're a cajillion, billion, zillionaire, like we see everybody's, apparently these days, well, then do what you gotta do. If you're not rich, don't make it about rich versus poor. Because I know people who deserve every single penny that they have, and they could be considered very rich. Um, I know people who maybe acquired their money in a big way, or in a way that we wish, or maybe it feels like luck, but then hey, so what? Good. Maybe they'll do something good with it, right? If they don't, that's none of my freaking business, right? If you need a penny, and trust and believe, you're not alone. Also donate a penny, because poor people feed poor people. Communities feed communities. Um, I can give a can of peas to somebody who maybe I don't like that food and I can share it. They maybe don't like canned beans. They give me the beans in exchange. Or we all gather those cans and we give it to a social action project. Um, that sort of thing, right? We can give our time, we can give our hearts, we can give word of mouth, we can give resources and tools, we can give people hope. Um, being a peer, being a person, being a caregiver, we are those things all the time, right? So we don't have to make it about that. We don't have to make it about what that role is, or who's doing it or not doing it, or how we feel we're accomplishing it, or not, right? Um, Charity starts at home. Self responsibility, personal responsibility, taking responsibility, mutuality, give and take. Um, we hear it all the time. If we're not taking care of ourselves, how can we take care of others? Whatever you gotta look at it like, right? We do need to survive. And if the reality is that we are burning the candle at both ends, it doesn't matter what your candle looks like. It's gonna burn out, and it's gonna burn out faster. Um, in the last 30 seconds of this 20-minute Dharma talk, I'm gonna encourage you. It's If you're in the US, you can get your charitable receipts for donating. Choose charities that are working for people. If you're in Canada, it's always good to do that too. Taxes come up, later on, but think of people and places where the money will go somewhere. Not the big names, not the ones who've had the money so far, but the new faces, the new places. The people who didn't have it all along, right? Look for new places to share. Try to be local, and if you can't be local and serve people who look like you or sound like you or have the same needs as you, then be as local as possible. Start to reach out and see who's out there. Because often it's when we can come together socially and have shared experiences, then we all get to go somewhere. So I took an extra minute. Thank you, everybody. I'm Angus Wright, and I also go by Angus by Design. And this is something that I call the Dharma Talks, and it's really just an activity where I do an activity that I call Journal Out Loud. And as a participant of social media, including and especially this platform, please do be mindful that this space is my intellectual property and it's registered to me. And Angus by Design is registered to me as well. And so I'm celebrating nearly 10 years as a long form my god, my brain. Impro. I do improv, for crying out loud. And I'm a comedian. My mantra in this is all rights preserved. So yeah, looking forward to next time. Be well.